What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Throttle YouTube channel. As you can see by the title and thumbnail, it's time to sell some cars. We have a ton of project cars here, and we have to make room for the new projects for next year.
That's right, but don't worry, guys, because the Supra is staying. We're not getting rid of this one just yet. We've got a lot of cool things planned for this one in the coming years, so you'll have to stay tuned for that. But some of these other cars, they're going up on the chopping block. So if any of you guys are interested in purchasing one of our project cars, you can check the link down in the description, and each one of these will have its own listing.
Which is really awesome, so let's show you guys the cars. All right, so here we have our 2001 Dodge Viper RT10 with a Hellcat red-eye swap. Now, we built this car for Motor Trend's Roadkill Nights powered by Dodge back in August, and it is an absolute monster. The chassis has about 60,000 miles, and the auction for this car is live, so check out the link in the video description. There's just a couple days left on all of these cars. And Quinn, why don't you tell us a little bit more about it?
So we acquired this Viper in pretty much full factory trim. It was a little rough around the edges, and we've solved that pretty much with the Hellcat power plant. So we worked a lot with direct connection through Dodge to get a lot of factory parts. And the main part that they gave us is a Hellcat red-eye, which produces from the factory about 797 horsepower and a TR6060 manual transmission swap, and then their add-on pack to make everything work. So wiring harnesses, we got power steering in here, which is really cool. A lot of factory Dodge components to make this swap really doable and really work.
So the swap looks really factory. The guys did a fantastic job. We even used the factory engine mounts and provisions. I know we sent this thing over to MagnaFlow. They did an amazing job with the custom headers, exhaust all the way back. It is loud.
It is
forewarning.
Ridiculously
this thing
loud.
is insanely loud.
Right.
Roll a clip. The other really exciting thing is this car was just on Hoonigan's This Versus That, where it took down a new Viper with a 300 shot of nitrous. So it is very fast. The influencer race at Roadkill, the car placed second place just behind Weston Champlin. It is an absolute monster. And I would argue, actually, probably the fastest car that's come out of this shop to date.
Yeah, I would agree. Definitely a top tier, definitely in the top 3 for fastest cars I've ever driven across the board. So this car really had one purpose, and it was to go out and win events and win races. We have quite a few go fast bits on this aside from just the Hellcat engine swap. We have a lot of fab work done in the front to mount some massive CSF coolers. We have an OEM style cooler for the supercharger. We have power steering and oil coolers by CSF as well. We have a Metco 275 pulley, and we have an entire DishWorks fuel system on this car. So 1500 cc injectors, Dash 8 fuel line everywhere. We have a 5.5 liter surge tank in the back, and this thing is running on fully 85. So to say this thing makes probably 900 wheel is probably around where it is. It's probably somewhere around that range. We've never had this thing on the dyno, but this car is ridiculously fast, especially with this setup that we have here. So we have a TR6060 manual transmission. It is still an H-pattern manual, which is really cool and adds a lot of character to the car, I think, especially at this power level. We have a twin plate clutch in there by ACT. We have drive shaft shopper axles. We have a Willwood 15-inch rear brake conversion, which allow us to run a really big wheel and tire setup, which currently is not on the car because it's a little bit impractical to be rolling it around on drag radials.
So let's talk about the wheel and tire setup real quick. We're running an American Racing forged 2-piece wheel. So in the front, we're running a 17-inch, and in the rear, which is not on the car right now, we're running a 15-inch American Racing forged wheel, which you guys can see in the other clips and videos. The car will come with both sets. We typically just run it on the stock wheels and tires around the shop and keep the drag slicks just specific for drag racing. But yeah, in the back, we're running a Willwood brake kit to allow a smaller diameter wheel. And then in the front, we just replaced all of the rotors and pads, but we're using the factory Viper brake system, which actually works really good. The other trick thing is right down in here, where we've installed a line lock kit. So there's a button above the shifter where you can press that and press the brakes, and it's gonna lock up just the front brakes, so you can do some gnarly burnouts with this thing and make sure that the front wheels are nice and locked and that you're not just overpowering the rear brakes, which you normally do when you do burnouts, I guess. So alongside with the wheel and tires, we are running a Penske custom valved shocks for drag racing. So if you know anything about drag racing and about shocks, Penske Racing, a huge brand, and these things are awesome, as you can see, because this thing launches and gets out of the hole pretty quick.
So we do also have to mention we have a Diablo Sport tune set up on this car, and that's pretty critical for getting it running, one, to have a proper tune for the engine. And we have a Diablo Sport tuning port on the inside, so let's move to the interior.
All right, so on the inside, it's pretty much stock. We've got brown leather here from Dodge from 2001. A little bit of wear on the bolsters. The seats are actually pretty comfortable, and then a little bit of wear on the steering wheel. But what I think is really cool is factory shifter location. We did make this shifter extension for Ricky's liking, and you can see the line lock button is there as well. But yeah, interior is pretty basic. It's meant for going fast and going straight.
I like it. I think it's a testament that we kept the interior full factory and looking nice. So it's not just a full-blown dedicated drag car.
Yeah. We've dubbed this car the Mongoose, and as I mentioned earlier, this car is available right now. So if you click the link in the video description, get those bids in. I think it'll be in good hands with someone who's really gonna race it consistently, or do whatever they want with it. I'm not sure. So the link is live, the auction is live right now, and good luck. All right, so this right here is our 2006 Nissan 350Z. This car is fully electric with a Tesla Model S P85 full power plant in that. I'll let Will go through all the details, but before we do, this car has a one-of-one Liberty Walk wide body kit that's actually been widened by SOS Customs, and then they went ahead and put a Ford Cactus Gray beautiful paint job on this car. It absolutely looks fantastic. Has a 370Z front end, but yes, this car is a 350Z. Yes, a lot of people comment about that.
Number one comment every episode.
And remember that the auction for this Tesla Z is live right now. And if I forgot to mention before, there's no reserves on anything. So someone may get a really good deal. I don't know, we're kind of crossing our fingers here. But yeah, check out the link in the video description and get those bids in, because in just a couple days, the Z is leaving. Oof. We also have a set of Rotiform Rock H forged 3-piece wheels and a set of Toyo R888R tires. This thing is really fast. Will, tell us a little bit about the power plant. You're kind of the mastermind.
Yeah, this thing has a P85 power plant in it. It has a full 16 module Tesla pack. And with that unlocked performance motor, it's over 550 horsepower to those rear wheels. They're nice and wide, so they still grip when you take off in this thing. But
so this was on This Versus That.
It was.
Beat a Gen 2, I think, Viper. And that was actually on way narrower tires as well. So you should have much better traction with this thing. I will say this, it is an absolute rocket, and it's so weird because it's pretty much silent. It's not silent completely. It's got this nice like robot whiz, you know, noise.
Jetsons mobile.
But it is incredibly fast. Let's pop the hood, Will.
Cool. So this is no longer an engine bay, it is a battery box bay. And this is 12 of the 16 modules sitting right here. And of course we have our huge throttle logo because we are very proud of this car. SOS did a great job painting the panels that we made here in shop, and just kind of covered a lot of the OE engine bay kind of weird angles and stuff like that.
So just a couple other things to note here, which you can't really see. We've got a full Mishimoto cooling system in the front. So Mishimoto radiator, Mishimoto expansion tank. There's coolant that runs through all of the batteries, as well as a separate cooling loop in the back. We've got a Tesla brake booster here.
Yep.
Right? We've got an Optima 12-volt battery.
One of two.
There's
not one back there.
12-volt battery. So there's a lot you don't see. The other thing that you don't see is this car is on air suspension.
Yes.
It's got universal air struts all around and an AccuAir VT system in the trunk. Not too much to see under here, super clean. There is not another 350Z like it.
We have some awesome Recaro Speed V seats right here, and they have this stitching in the gray, kind of pulls from the exterior color of this car, and we had SOS wrap these door panels and pull that same design to these, and everything is so much more quiet. When you drove this car before, because there was so much of the insulation and things removed in order to put the EV platform in here, it was there was a lot of road noise. But once we had this all buttoned up with the leather wrapping and the full interior in here, it pulled it right back to that quiet ride, and all you really hear is, like Evan was talking about, that Jetsons hum and just a lot of just the feedback of the road that you want to hear. I mentioned earlier the EV controls T2C that translates the power plant, the Tesla drive unit, to the rest of the car, and that has some Bluetooth capabilities to this iPad that is mounted in the dash that allows you to set your regen, select what gear you want, hit cruise control, and also some traction control functions. So that is very handy to have, but it's not dedicated only to the panel like you would see in a Tesla. You also have these awesome speed hut gauges that we made some custom houses for. So you got your speed, it even has some track timing on here in this center dial. You're monitoring your battery voltage, your battery temperatures, everything. So everything is still very visible, and all the information you need is still right here. And if you don't have your iPad plugged in, we do have some analog controls right here. Regen, on or off if you're tracking this thing or you just want the regen cut off. There's a burnout button because we put line lock on this in order to roast some tires. And of course your parking brake, drive, neutral, and reverse. And we have this awesome GTR push button start that we got from the people who gave us the keyless entry, which is Digital Guard Dog. It's actually a lot darker in here than your normal Z because there was a gray headliner in here before. Now SOS has wrapped this in a dark black suede, and that continues along with all the pillars all the way to the rear end. This thing is finally complete. Everything works as we wanted it to in the long run. And this is a huge piece of throtl history. It's gone 3 years, I want to say.
Just about 3 years, I think.
Yeah, you guys all looked a lot younger by the time this thing was started.
I have to say thank you to Will, because without Will, this car wouldn't be possible, and it really is one of a kind. No corners were cut. The paint job is beautiful. The interior is real leather. Everything is real. Everything is truly state of the art. It's really, really cool. And I'm just really excited to see who takes home this car and who gets to really enjoy it on a day-to-day basis. This is like the perfect daily driver for someone who wants an EV but wants it to be really cool. And I'm very excited to see where it goes. So once again, check out the link in the video description. No reserve on this one. Maybe you'll be the winner.
I'm surprised about that.
No reserve on any of the cars, and we just hope they go to good homes so that we can make way for new projects that are coming into the garage for next year. So that's it for this. Let's get the Civic down.
Next up on the auction block is gonna be the Freak, our 1999 Honda Civic that's been converted to rear-wheel drive and turbocharged. This one hurts a little bit. I'm gonna be honest, this stings. We're just gonna have to rip the Band-Aid off fast on this one. This car is live up on auction now. You're gonna be bidding against me because I am gonna try to win this car. But there's no reserve, so get in there, put your bids in, and we'll see who gets to take it home. But let's take a walk around the car and check it out. Pop the bonnet, Quinn. Well, here it is, the K20A2 that you guys saw us painstakingly install in this car. It has a Garrett turbocharger, Garrett intercooler, and a V-mount configuration. It's got a track tough radiator down below. It does have vintage air conditioning, Love Fab custom turbo manifold, Mishimoto quick connects on all of the couplers, drive-by-wire, you name it. This car basically has it all. We threw pretty much everything we know and know how to do at this car. Full rye-wire harness, so I could go on for days. There is a mod list for this car attached to the sails. We've got the Sabon carbon fiber hood with the Evo 9 vent added to allow the hot air to come through the radiator and the intercooler and exit out the hood. A lot of attention has been paid to the details on this car. So I don't think you'd be disappointed if you were taking this one home. Let's check out the rest of it. Before we get into the inside of the car, we've got our Motegi wheels on the front and on the rear. We've got Falcon Tire Azenis RT660s front and rear as well, which is their 200 treadwear compound. Sabon carbon fiber doors, ultra light with the quick disconnect hinges. This door lifts off literally in seconds. KL Fab roll cage, Sparco seats, almost stock-like interior, stock dash, stock center console, hybrid racing short shifter, which was the first ever for this S2000 Trans. They sent us the first one they made, which is pretty neat. But it is a track car, so it's pretty stripped down inside. It's raw floor pans, but it really shows off all the work that we did on this car, which is really cool. You can see the Willwood hanging pedal set, our drive-by-wire throttle pedal, and all the little things that we did just to make this thing function. The HGK heel plate, man, that's one of my favorite parts of this car. Every time I look, I see something else that I forgot was in here. Haltech IC7 dash paired to the Haltech standalone and all the modules that go along with that. Dune Addict power steering setup with modular control, which is pretty cool here on the dash, so you can add or take away assist. Fuel safe fuel cell in the back, Optima battery. One thing this car won't be coming with that is in the car currently is the Mugen rear strut tower bar. That belongs in my personal collection, so that'll be staying with me. But everything else on here, going with the car. Cusco quick connects for the hold the trunk in place. This is also a Sabon carbon fiber trunk lid with a Seeker wing and a Honda optional mid wing, which this is a pretty rare part in and of itself. Not everybody loves it, but I think it's cool for this car, being a track car. Quinn, you got anything to add, brother?
Just a lot of time and a lot of effort, a lot of really cool components. There's a lot of carbon fiber on this, including the roof. I don't know if that was mentioned.
Oh,
so there's a lot of carbon fiber on this car.
Man, custom exhaust from MagnaFlow, the full underpinnings from S1 built, which is basically the rear portion of their all-wheel drive kit that allowed us to put a AP1 differential underneath this car and made it to drive shaft shop racing axles with the proper splines on the hubs. Man, pretty much everything has been tackled on this car. The front end is completely custom, geometry, sway bar, pickups for the steering rack, everything has been basically custom made. So you're not gonna pull into Cars and Coffee or a car meet and see another one of these, that's for sure.
And of course, the finishing touch on this car is the Max Boost designed livery, one of one, and installed by Premium Auto Styling. So this car looks beautiful, looks like a proper race car, and is a proper race car. This car was also featured in Option Magazine Japan, which is really cool. And
just in November.
Yep, so a pretty recent issue, and this was also one of our SEMA cars this year. So this car has a lot of heritage here, and a lot of pedigree as well. So.
And you know what? Whoever wins this car, I'm gonna toss in an Option Magazine that it's in.
Oh, there you go.
So they can have it as a keepsake, because we have a spare one.
Yep, so if you guys want to see the full mod list of this car, check the link in the description for the mod list as well as the listing.
So that's gonna be it for the Freak. Now let's get the next car down and go over it.
Last up, we have our 1989 Nissan Skyline R32 GTST. This is a project we've had kind of floating around in the back here and there, getting some work done on it, and it just turned out beautifully, and the car is officially finished. So.
Man, it is actually a super sleek R32, and it just goes to show that you don't need to have R32 GTR money to have fun with a GTR.
Now, before we get into the Skyline, I want to let you guys know the car is finished. We had it on the dyno, it's making good power, it sounds incredible, it looks incredible. We still have a few build episodes left coming to the channel, so be on the lookout for those. But for now, let's get into the details about the car if you guys want to pick it up for yourself. Paintwork turned out beautiful. The color was kind of up in the air for a little while, but I think the yellow really landed and turned out really nice. Looks really good, especially on this body kit.
So one of the areas we spent a lot of money was on paint and body, and so not buying a GTR allowed us to do that, and we were able to go in and actually clean up a lot of the unused holes on the chassis in the engine bay area and have the guys over at Torrey Pines Collision spray a really nice custom yellow on this car for us and do a lot of extra body work that maybe we wouldn't have been able to afford had we bought a GTR. So this is a really cool example of sort of a budget-built R32.
So under the hood, we have a mostly stock RB20. We've got some good bits under here, but it's stock piston rods, stock cam. You don't need like a crazy, 1,000 horsepower RB26 to have a nice looking RB. So we've got a forward-facing intake manifold kit on this car. If you guys know about the stock RB20s, the manifold comes over the top.
It's a very cluttered look.
Yeah, kind of like a naturally aspirated 2JZ, and it just doesn't really show the angles and the valve covers and all the beautiful parts of an RB. Then of course we've got an R-Tech manifold with a Garrett G25 550 turbo on there. Works really well. Love the look, nice and compact. It's not massive and sticking out everywhere. And it allows it to really keep the shock towers on the sides of the engine bay clean. So a lot of really cool components on here. Grady belt, Grady cam gears, HKS belts. We've got a full Grady pulley kit as well.
It's a PRP plate underneath our dress-up plate here that houses the R35 coils. So that's all been wired into our custom harness for this car as well.
There's a lot of just
for a background build, this is a pretty high-level build. So.
Twin trigger kit by PRP as well, which is really cool. Starting to play with the PRP products on the RBs, which is really cool because it's going to allow us to, use those products efficiently and effectively on our future RB endeavors, should we get into an RB ever again. So we've got a full Mission Moto cooling system, and we've really kept, aside from the forward-facing intake manifold, we've kept a lot of the stock architecture of the car, which is really cool. So we have a lease spec big catch can over there. A lot of small dress-up parts like the Chase Bays, their power steering kit, which is really nice, and a lot of keeping everything simple, which is really cool.
We also use the GK Tech ABS Delete kit as well, so that cleaned up the brake lines that you would normally see across the top of the firewall. So just really focus on tidying it up, but make it actually work. So everything's here and it looks great. Let's move on to the interior. So the interior was really important to us because it was an 89, it was pretty haggard in here. So we wanted to take some inspiration from the Garage Active guys and the Built by Legends guys and stuff, and really do a custom interior on this car. So we went as far as to replace the stock seats with some Recaros. These are the Speed Vs with a yellow insert, which matches the paint on the outside, which I think is a really cool touch. But Street Faction door cards that eliminate the old factory door cards that had seen better days. We've got new carpeting in here. Everything has been trimmed in real leather and suede or Alcantara. We've got Greddy shift boot and e-brake boot. And man, look at the stitching from SOS Customs on all of these components. Now, if you guys have ever owned one of these cars, you know that most of these components the tabs are broke off the back or they're cracked. And getting new ones is either nearly impossible or stupid expensive. So we're able to utilize the majority of the interior that we had and just repair it and cover it with leather. And what that end result is,
it's beautiful. It smells like a brand new car.
It smells like a brand new car in here. We've got a suede headliner that I did.
A, B, and C pillars are brand new leather.
All brand new leather.
Everything looks immaculate in here.
Yeah, whoever gets this car is gonna be really happy with it. It's gonna be a good cruiser for somebody.
Oh yeah.
In the back, we've got our rear seat delete from Street Faction. That's also wrapped in leather and some gray stitching. And we've got Downstar hardware throughout this whole build. So everywhere you look, you'll see Downstar. So we've got a Pioneer nav unit that's a touchscreen, and we've also got a subwoofer in the trunk and amps and speakers from Kicker Audio. This thing is the ultimate street car, I think, in my opinion, from our garage. This is something you can literally get in and street drive and really enjoy.
This is one of the best interiors I think we've come up with so far. It looks amazing in here.
The other thing we did on this car was we replaced the windows, these rear quarter glass windows, because these moldings were shot. They were sunburnt really bad. And in order to replace those moldings, you actually have to replace the whole glass. So we were able to source these from Japan, have them shipped over. We also got the factory R32 wind deflectors or rain guards. These are a nice touch, helps clean up the exterior of the car and bring a lot of the moldings up to a factory fresh look. Even in the rear, we used a universal molding around the window. It looks really nice, and it looks, I think, a little bit nicer than the factory molding myself. And around back, one of, I think, our favorite things as a shop here is the taillights.
The infinity taillights look beautiful. This car has so much presence from behind with these taillights and it being wide body.
It looks the same. Let's say you can just reach in there and grab something.
Yeah, it looks so cool. We also have a Greddy catback exhaust system on this thing, which is really nice. Gives it a nice look from the back end.
That's the PETR exhaust with the Heimholtz tube, so it doesn't drone.
Yep.
And that rounds out the back. We've got the Pandem wing on here as well. This was met with a little bit of resistance from the audience. I really like it. I think it matches the style of the car really well, and it gets away from that GTR specific look that it seems like every one of these cars has. So I think it's a cool, unique style for the car. And one thing we didn't mention was the wheel and tire package and suspension package. This car is on air, has UAS bags paired with AccuAir's air management system, and we've got Falcon RT60s wrapped around some beautiful work three-piece wheels. So this is the full package in my opinion.
It is, I love it. I love the stance, I love the look. You can raise it up and actually drive it like a practical car. And then when you're at a show, lay it out like this, it looks beautiful. So that's gonna wrap it up for our GTST. Another beautiful project we've had a lot of fun with. Kind of sad to see it go, if I'm being honest.
Yes.
But we need to make room for more better projects that are coming next year, which is really cool.
So if you guys are interested in purchasing one of these cars or even just following along with the auctions, they will be listed in the description down below and you can check them out. This car in particular here is a little different than the rest. This one's gonna be sold with our friends over at Top Rank Importers. So if this car interests you and you wanna buy it or inquire, please look at the Top Rank Importers website. It'll be in the link in the description down below, and you can talk to them about potentially purchasing this or what the price point is going to be for this car.
Yep.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Leave us some comments down below. Let us know what you think of these projects and maybe what you want to see us build in 2023.
The only car left here in the shop is, of course, our Civic Type R hanging out up on the rack there. You guys know what to do. That is our current sweepstakes car. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next video.